So like your screen is bigger than my screen. All of us.
Okay, enough with the screen envy.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be investing in a camera because we've tried both laptops and they're still coming through rather grainy.
Mm-hmm.
My phone comes through really nice and crisp and clear, but I need access to that while we're on the show.
Oh, okay.
So I'm probably best out of focus anyway.
Mm.
All right, well, I'm getting to your page right now, Daryl.
Can you fix the screen where I'm at?
Wait a minute. I may get this on together first. I'm moving. I got too many windows open. The screen where you are. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
It's say so you look at Chris' screen, look at my screen, look at Rebecca's screen.
What's wrong? Rebecca's will have to turn her phone sideways.
Okay.
And that will make that
Yeah, there she is.
Daryl, what's your name on Facebook? Let me find you real quick, please.
Daryl M Brooks.
Okay.
The M is very important.
Yeah.
All right, Daryl.
DARYL M Brooks. DRYL.
There we go, got you. Okay.
All right.
And
Hold
then
on. Let me look at it.
You gotta post it though, so because I'm gonna send a message. So you got
all right.
Here you go, Bell.
Hold on.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Let me post it. All right.
You will have to turn yours sideways as well.
He's just accessing the data on the phone.
Yeah.
I think that's why you have it.
I just.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah. On the mobile, you got to turn it vertical to access the rest of the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Boom. Come on, technology. It shouldn't be this hard. All right. All right. And Mary Sabin just texted me, said he didn't get the link yet. I don't know why. Copy link. Hold on. Yeah. All right. I didn't get the link. I just sent you the link to your email. Check. All right. All right. Boom. He just got the link. All right. All right. All right. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's go. Late, but you know.
All right. We'll start off with the intro.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the On Fire Show. This is the host, Daryl M Brooks, with my other two great co-hosts. Yes, Rebecca. Are you there? Rebecca Boyd.
I am here. So excited to be here.
And Chris Cloud. Hey, Chris. Wow, man. How you doing?
It's a long time making. Glad to be here.
Thank you all for watching and supporting.
I am just a big patriot and lover of freedom. And
I'm coming to you guys from what I call the front line of the heartland.
You're hot, Daryl.
Hello.
It's on you.
You're there, man.
Okay, we started. All right.
Take
Hey,
it.
everybody. Welcome to the On Fire Show. This is host Daryl M Brooks with Chris Cloud and Rebecca Boyd. Hey, are you there? Say hi, guys.
hey, everyone.
Good evening.
All right,
All's well.
I am so excited. We got a great lineup. We have Mary Sabin coming on, Professor Mary Sabin, talking about economics. We got Mike from the Trump store in Ben Salem. Also, we got Mark McCluskey talk about in your end what happened in Virginia. So how was your week, Chris?
I think James Taylor summed it up best. I've seen fire and I've seen rain and I've seen sunny days. Well, it was a little bit of everything. We were very happy, very locally. I was not very happy statewide.
Yeah, your buddy won the cowboy hat.
Yes, indeed. Cowboy won.
What's his name?
Regan Washer. Regan Washer is town
Regan Washer.
Board of Supervisors in Fauquier. We have 5 board of supervisors and 5 school board. We have a 4-to-1 majority on the board of supervisors, and I believe 4-to-1 on school board as well. And the county is deep red.
Okay. That's with some of the issues that are happening in Loudoun County and Fauquier County is definitely deep red. I mean, it's definitely important, especially when it comes to the school board and the school system in that area.
That's very true.
With some of the things
we've been the hotbed of a lot of controversy, especially the neighboring counties. In fact, I had a really nice conversation with Scott Smith, the father who was arrested at that school board meeting that kind of kicked a lot of this to the forefront of nationwide media. I talked with him just today because that particular not attorney general, but the Commonwealth's attorney in Loudoun County, Buddha Bibaraj, she's gone. Thank God. And she was the one that prosecuted him and really went after him with a vengeance. So we're happy about that.
Yeah. So Rebecca Boyd, how was your weekend? What was it like? I saw a lot of your pictures with the dogs and the horses out there in your county.
Yes, Pennsylvania, beautiful fall weather here lately. So I got the horses. I've been trying to get out riding as much as possible. And, following the news, some positive things happening. Recently, I was happy about a judge ruled that the California assault weapons ban push was unconstitutional. So that was a big win. So even amongst all of the negative things happening, there's some wins going on. So
it seemed like there's some great changes, especially in the conservative realm. What's happening in the country, and you see what's happening in Israel, you see what's happening in Gaza, Ukraine, and you see what's happening in America with the protests. I'm sure some of you've seen the videos what's happening in Washington.
Yeah.
And it's finally CNN and Fox News are really talking about it, and especially the protests at night. I mean, my God, Chris. I mean, it's mad. It's a madhouse at the Democratic the machine down in what's happening in Washington.
Well, the thing that's really bothering me and has for quite a while, it's consistent, is that what happened just last night at the DNC headquarters in DC. Not only are the perpetrators being given an awful lot of airtime, but their narrative is being taken as gospel, and that's disturbing. It's very similar to the gentleman out in California. The media is painting this as the poor guy passed away the day after he fell and hit his head. Now, if the political tables were turned, this guy, what actually happened, he was beat on the head with a megaphone, and they knocked him out. And when he fell, he hit his head and he went into a coma, and he has died. That's murder. Yeah, that's not. He didn't die because he bumped his head. He was murdered. And the narrative that they're painting about this whole thing, all of these protests, the difference between, how they couch what's going on right now and what's happened when any conservative gets their knickers in a wad is just glaring. If it weren't for double standards, the left would have no standards at all.
You're definitely right. And so we have our special guest that's coming on after this break, Professor Dr. Murray Sabrin. He's a friend of mine. He's been on the One-on-One on Fire show a few times. And, he's going to talk about with the economic crisis that's happening in America, and also the possibility of World War III. He's been right on the money in some of the things he was saying. And it's like exciting to see his truth come out. and what's happening around in our country and around the world. So we're going to go into a break. We got some the Nation's Gun Show video for a couple of minutes, and we got also I want to talk about the mic from the Trump store in Ben Salem, and I've spoken there once, and it's a great Trump store in Ben Salem, and he it's amazing some of the things that he's doing. We're going to be talking about what's happening in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania. So we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back with Professor Murray Sabrin.
Are we able to communicate while the ad's on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Daryl. Yeah, you guys, you're able to hear us over the ad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this should last about 2 minutes, and then we're going to do a quick. We're going to do a quick slide of the Trump store, and then we're going to bring Murray Sabrin on. Is Atlanta's Professor Sabrin on?
Yes, he is. He's in the waiting room.
All right. All right. Atlanta, we're going to go to the quick slide for the Trump store right quick. No more than 30 seconds. Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is the On Fire Show with Daryl M Brooks. I got my main man, Chris Cloud, and Rebecca Boyd. She's out of Pennsylvania, and Chris, you're out of Virginia, Fauquier County. Rebecca, what county or city you're in?
I am in Wyoming County, Pennsylvania.
Wyoming County.
Yeah.
Wow. It's is it cold? How's the weather?
It's been pretty mild for this time of year, surprisingly. So I'm enjoying it while it's here because it'll be snowing soon enough. So especially in the higher elevations, it varies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's you know, and as snow comes, it comes. So we're going to talk quick about the Trump store in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania. We're going to show the slide right quick. It's a great store. It's Ben Salem, Pennsylvania, 2060 Street Road, Pennsylvania. It's an awesome store. I mean, if you want anything you need for President Trump, you can get. Listen, it has the dolls, it has everything, the teddy bears, the T-shirts, Trump 2024, Trump 2020, Trump 2016. It has the dolls, it has everything you need, and that's why I love the store, because it's like a community. If you know, and the people in Ben Salem around that whole county are, you know, they come there for a political movement, and they're excited about coming. I was there. He had an event. It was on a Saturday, and he's coming on the show to talk about the Trump store. And he had an event there where I spoke, and other people were speaking, and it was an awesome event. And people, you know, they were just buying the T-shirts, buying the hats, and buying books. It was exciting. He probably will have to do it again sometime next year. So we have Professor Murray Sabrin. He is a retired professor at Ramapo College. He is a doctor. He is an expert on the economy. Written similar 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of books on economics, and you know, especially on the Federal Reserve. So, Professor Sabrin, are you there? Welcome to the On Fire Show.
Good to be with you, Daryl, and your two co-hosts, Chris and Rebecca.
Hi.
Hey,
It's an honor, sir. Nice to make your acquaintance.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Pleasure to be with you.
when I told them that you were coming on the show, they're like, "Oh my God, this guy is so bright. He's the real deal." And his predictions are starting to come true. What's happening in America and the economy. So, further ado, we're going to go into. I guess should we go into one of your slides, or are you going to basically talk about what's happening from the beginning?
Well, the reason I sent you those slides, Daryl, is that they tell a story about how a free market economy operates and why it's not operating the way it should because of the policies out of Washington, D.C. that I've seen now unfold for the past half century since I first got interested in economics when Nixon closed the gold window in 1971 and imposed wage price controls. And that's when I left the Republican Party as a young man because these people were not serious about free markets. Everything he did was opposite of what a free market should be all about. And then I became interested in the Austrian School of Economics, the premier free market approach to economic analysis. And I just spoke at their event on November 4th, and people can watch that on their website at Mises.org, where I gave a 45-minute presentation of an expanded version of of the slides I sent you. And it's so easy to understand the economy, folks, is that even my students, undergraduates, got it. So if they got it, then Joe and Kamala should understand, and the members of Congress should understand how a free market economy works. We don't need as much government spending as we have. We don't need the Federal Reserve manipulating interest rates. We don't need trade regulations. Let people around the world trade with each other. That's called freedom. That's called liberty. That's called property rights. Instead, we have, unfortunately, both political parties support the welfare warfare state, which I've been talking about for a half a century, that it's counter to the free market, it's counter to the Constitution, if you will, and the federal budget is counter to the Constitution. That's why we have a constitutional crisis that nobody in Washington is talking about. Most of what the budget spends on is not authorized by the Constitution, and you don't have to take my word for it. Just go to Article 1, Section 8, which outlines the authorized spending of the federal government. And what do we find there? There's no such thing as Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, foreign aid, and all the entitlement programs, the welfare programs, the corporate welfare programs, the individual welfare programs. In other words, we're operating outside the bounds of what the founders envisioned for America. And that's why we have a $33 trillion debt, inflation going up and down. People are hurting, even though the unemployment rate is relatively low. And from my research, 2 years ago, I predicted that a recession would begin in the second half of 2023. And I think the recession has begun. We won't see it, I think, in full bloom until next year, because right now the unemployment rate is starting to increase. And every time the unemployment increases from a trough, and I sent you that chart from the Federal Reserve Economic Database, we have a recession starting a few months later. So the unemployment rate has been increasing for the past several months, and we're going to see a recession next year. How deep it will be, nobody knows for sure. But the point is, the government spends so much money that it doesn't have. It's funding 2 wars overseas, which could drag us into World War III. Not only in Ukraine, but also in the Mideast. So we have the worst of both worlds: uncontrolled spending, monetary manipulation, and endless wars that Trump campaigned against. And if he does that again in 2024 and makes the case that we cannot afford this, as much as we would like to help people, they have to defend their own country. And it's ironic that we're spending so much money overseas when we can't even defend our own border in the South. And as an immigrant, I find it so offensive that people say, just let people in. My father was vetted in 1949 before we came to America because he was a partisan fighter in Poland, and he fought the Nazis for 5 years, folks, 5 years out of his life, and from 1939 to 1944, when the Soviet army came into his part of Poland and liberated the people there. But he spent 5 years, and in 1949, they decided to come to America. I was 2.5. My brother was 6.5. He was thoroughly interviewed by the American officials in West Germany, where we were living at the time. And we got our papers to come to America. So that's the way to come to America. So you're welcome with open arms instead of what today is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. It's an insult to the people who've been waiting online 5, 10, 15 years. When I gave a guest lecture at the college several years ago, one of the students said her cousin or uncle from Peru has been waiting 15 years to come to America.
Wow, 15
following
years.
the rules.
That's a long time.
And
all they got to do is come over to the border.
That's
come down
all he has
Texas.
to do, Daryl. And here's the thing: if we American citizens go overseas and come back to America, we have to show our passport. How many passports have been shown at the southern border to come into America? People have not been cleared for their health. We know people in third world countries have poor health, nutrition. They may be coming in with tuberculosis, with all sorts of other communicable diseases, and no one seems to care about this, which suggests to me that the people in Congress and administrations have thoroughly violated their oath of office to protect the American people. And that to me is the single most disaster that we're facing, plus all the financial ramifications of all this unfunded spending with these deficits. And that's why I'm very pessimistic over the next several years. The good news, and I have a lot of good, is that the men and women entrepreneurs of America are continuing what they do best, which is provide us with goods and services that we want, not what the government is forcing down our throats with windmills and solar panels and electric vehicles. If the American people wanted, they would go out and spend it. They wouldn't need mandates from the federal government to buy these things. They would do so voluntarily. And that's the essence of a free market between what we should have and what we have today, which is basically a fascist economy. In fact, it was a book written nearly 50 years ago entitled America's Emerging Fascist Economy. And here we are, where the government is controlling virtually every aspect of economic activity. And that's not the America I came. I was introduced to when I was a youngster in the 1950s. And since then, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And I've been on record saying we're going to have a financial crisis, a big one, by the end of this decade. And in my presentation November 4th, I highlighted why that will come about. It's because of all the spending, the debt, the Federal Reserve's manipulation of money and credit. They never learn in Washington. So what does that tell us? They're incredibly stupid, or they have such allegiance to their special interests in order to keep on the spending. And let me tell you why the Republicans are not going to achieve the great victory they should achieve in 2024. Because when I hear Republicans say, we're all for the safety net, the government safety net, what they're saying, in effect, is we agree with the Democrats. We're just going to have a debate of how big the safety net should be. As a libertarian, the safety net is the nonprofit sector. It's the hospitals, it's the food banks, it's the other nonprofit institutions like the nonprofit health center I helped create in Bergen County, New Jersey. So we have a whole nonprofit sector, which is a vibrant sector. We just need to reduce taxes, get people off of the welfare rolls, and we will have a blossoming nonprofit sector. So, and let me just one final thing. The key to being an adult in America, which I learned in the 1950s when I was a youngster, is to be financially independent. And if we instill those values in young people, they will not be going to Washington for handouts. And the same thing with corporations. Corporations are now saying, I can't take care of my business unless I get a government bailout or a subsidy. Well, once you say that, you've lost the argument. You're saying, I'm in favor of corporate welfare. I'm in favor of business welfare. I'm in favor of all sorts of welfare. And what is welfare? Legalized theft, where money is taken from somebody who earns it and gives it to somebody who hasn't earned it. And that's the crisis we're facing in America today. And unfortunately, we're not having that debate in Washington.
So I know Rebecca was excited to have you on. She asked, she wanted to ask you a few questions. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, so I think my first question would be, which is probably what a lot of people are wondering, is we're headed in a really bad direction, and what is it going to take to turn this around or slow it down for the future? What would you suggest?
This is a great question. What we need is not a political revolution. We need a cultural revolution, because there are people all across the political spectrum that believe in the welfare warfare state. So how do you change that? That's why I've written 4 books since I retired 3.5 years ago. 2 on healthcare, which is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, because it's taking up $4 trillion of the American people's resources. We could cut that probably in half and still have better healthcare and better outcomes. We have a Federal Reserve that is basically a central planning institution. And we have taxes that are so high that the average person can't afford. A lot of people can't afford basic necessities. And we have the evaluation of the dollar, because the Federal Reserve keeps on printing money. And so, and then we have the government taking over healthcare with the COVID lockdowns and the mandates and the vaccine mandates. This is why I do what I do in retirement. I could very easily not do any of this stuff and just relax. And I don't.
You're more
golf.
radical now.
Absolutely, Daryl.
Yeah,
because I've seen the economy and the political process evolve for a half a century. And what I see, based upon my reading of history, my understanding of economics and finance, is that it takes a crisis for things to get better or worse, because we know that when there's a crisis, like we had during the Great Depression, what happened? Government expanded under both Hoover and FDR. And the same thing happened with Nixon. Wage price controls, severing the link from the dollar from gold. So I do what I do on my Substack column at murraysabrin.substack.com. And I try to get on as many podcasts as possible. I did one yesterday for the Mises Institute. I'll do another one tomorrow. That'll be, it's a radio show that's also streamed, and it'll be linked on Robert Kennedy Jr.'s website, the Children's Health Defense website. And I'll be talking about healthcare. $4 trillion, folks. That's an obscene amount of money, and yet people are getting sicker and sicker, even with all this expenditure. So there's a disconnect between how much money we spend on healthcare and the outcomes of people not being as healthy as they should.
Yes, you definitely.
I just spoke to our local, our primary care doctor today, because my wife has some issues, and he said some of the doctors are not taking on new patients here in Southwest Florida, or specifically Naples, where we're living. That is a breakdown in the medical system, because as a consumer, which is what a patient is, you want to be able to have access the producer, which is the doctor. In every field, you can get somebody, whether it's a cell phone service or a cable service or automobile service. You can call up get on the phone, call it up, and you get an appointment the next day, the day after. But for some reason, doctors are not taking on new patients.
Yes,
and it's because of the structure of the current healthcare system between employer-based insurance, Medicare, and Medicaid. They are swamped.
Well,
you're lucky to get more than a 15-minute visit with the doctor today.
You're definitely right. Well, welcome to America. This is what's happening in America. Chris? Hello. Chris, can you hear me? Chris?
Everything went blank for a little bit. I'm here.
Okay.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Everything. I don't know. We lost our internet connection for just a second. What was the question?
No, basically, Rebecca asked Professor Sabrin a question. I know you wanted to talk to him also.
Indeed. When I heard you were going to be on the show, I did my own bit of research, and one of my favorite thinkers is Victor Hansen, and he recently said that I think it was Plato that lamented, kids these days. Kids these days, they have, they have no respect, they have no authority, they have no drive or ambition. And this was 1,500 years ago, so it's nothing that we haven't been dealing with for a long time. But he was asked, what's different now? And his response was, never before has a generation capable of so little held their predecessors who were capable of so much in such contempt. And that's what's unique in this scenario right now. So my question, two-part question for you really is, what is new and what's different now that's going to make $33 trillion catastrophic where $26 trillion just breezed by? What unique thing are we dealing with now? And 2 points, you mentioned the Middle East and you mentioned Ukraine. We're not even thinking about Taiwan now, are we?
Yeah.
And I mean, the illnesses that we're dealing with our wide open border. I mean, they're finding polio in Washington D.C.
Yep.
And chicken pox is coming back. That southern border, our multiple war fronts, in other words, also known as a global world war, and then what's new and exciting that brings a concern of a catastrophe now, when I've heard this for 50 years. What's unique about today's situation, and as Rebecca asked, what can we do? Is it possible to turn this battleship around at this point?
Well, again, what we're seeing today has led me to the conclusion, which I did years ago, is that the nation state, no matter who runs it, is a gross failure. It's anti-human, the nation state, because they do things that we as citizens cannot do. We cannot murder anybody. They do it, and they call it war. That's called legalized murder. They take money from people, call it taxation. We can't take money from people without permission. We have to use voluntary exchange. We can't print money. They can print money and devalue our money, and we lose purchasing power. We can't create money. So the governments all over the world do things that's prohibited by private citizens. So if we can't do it, well, how can the people who get together, call themselves democratically elected individuals, do things that we, the people, are prohibited from doing? That is the issue that we need to address. And like I said, nobody in Washington wants to talk about this. They all agree on the same thing. We need a big government. Now, and the Republicans say, no, government should not increase more than 5% a year, while the Democrats want to increase at 8% a year. You've lost the argument. You absolutely have lost the argument when you say that. So getting back to
the premise is wrong. It's a failed premise. Exactly.
What's happening today is we're seeing right before our eyes, with instant communication, the failure of the nation state. I don't care who runs it, Democrat, Republican, Netanyahu, Xi in China, wherever. The nation state is what libertarians have called organized crime. And that's exactly what it is. It's legalized organized crime. And the more people realize it, the more people will say, enough is enough. Let us decentralize decision-making to the people, to their communities, to their voluntary organizations. That would solve 90% or more of the problems facing the planet. Protect property rights, which would give us a cleaner planet, because pollution is basically a violation of property rights. So all the things that people are concerned about, the solution is very simple. It's with the free market, limited government, constitutional republic, sound money, balanced budget at a very low level, not what we have today, and the transition, which I wrote about in my first book, Tax-Free 2000 in 1995, how we go from the welfare warfare state of the 1990s to a free market in the 21st century by phasing out Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And we already have the institutions and in place in order to do it. For Social Security, young people can have their unlimited 401ks. They can have their unlimited health savings accounts. Medicaid people, we can create tens of thousands of nonprofit health centers and get $900 billion off the federal government's budget. There are ways of doing what's necessary to create social harmony, prosperity, and social cohesion. Instead, we have this ideology of Marxism, of quasi-fascism, that believes that everything comes from the top down. Well, if Biden says it should be from the bottoms up, then get the federal government out of the way and let the people from the bottoms up create the institutions and organizations they need in order to make sure that their communities are safe and prosperous and thriving.
You're definitely right. And with that, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. You're a great example of a person who is committed to this country and making sure this country gets on the right track. And it's very worrisome, when you see what's happening to our society and you see the educational system, and you see the economics, and you see people not even caring about what's happening, and they're just in some limbo state of mind, watching video games, movies, and going sports, and basketball, football, and just is having a great time, while all hell is breaking loose in our country economically and around the world. And when you talk to people about, what do you think about what's happening? They don't have a clue.
It's shocking. It's shocking. Yeah. I was an academic for 35 years, and the amount of reading I had to do before I became an academic and during an academic, in order to present something in the classroom that students would embrace and take them with a lifetime. I just spoke to a student of mine, former student of mine, and you're getting old, Daryl and Rebecca and Chris, when one of your former students is semi-retired.
Right.
And he's been a very successful businessman, consultant, and he's in Virginia, by the way. And we just had a great conversation yesterday. And he said, "I learned so much in your class." This is from the 1980s. He said, "I learned so much in your class. I've carried with it for throughout my career." And that's why I've written the books that I have. I write on Substack. And so all my books are available on Amazon. My memoir, From Immigrant to Public Intellectual, An American Story. We discussed that on the podcast that'll be posted on Friday, November 17th at the Mises.org website. And healthcare, to me, is the 800-pound gorilla. We have to really decentralize healthcare decision-making and get the government out of healthcare. They have no constitutional responsibility for healthcare. And that's my message to the American people. If you follow the Constitution, and I took an oath, Daryl, Rebecca, Chris, in 1959, when I became U.S. citizen, to uphold the Constitution. And I can say with all sincerity, I've done my job as a citizen and as a political candidate to stress the Constitution. If we follow that, we'll be in better shape than we are today.
Well, that's good. And thank you for coming on the show. We'll definitely have you on some other time. And you keep pushing those books out. It's amazing. You're more radical and you have more books out as you retired. So it's a great thing. When people say retire, you're supposed to relax and sit at the beach. You're doing more shows than ever before and writing. So I just want to thank you for coming on.
Well, thanks, Daryl. Thanks, Chris and Rebecca. And let's keep up the fight because the country's worth saving.
All right, we're going to go to a quick break, a couple commercials, and we'll be right back with Mike from the Trump Store in Ben Salem. Thank you. All right.
We're at the Nation's Gun Show in Chantilly, Virginia, which is one of the largest gun shows. Besides coming to the gun show and just buying a handgun for yourself, they've got rifles, there's relic guns from World War II, and if you're a history buff, you can take your firearm that you have and have a custom holster for it. You can get things engraved, you can buy knives and flashlights and hats.
Absolutely, everybody's here.
Cerakoting, which is where you cover all types of cleaning supplies and ammo and educational videos and books. I mean, it's like a domino effect where once you touch one item, you buy a gun. You need bags to carry all that in. It's all
right, we're back. We got Mike from the Trump Store in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania, 2060 Street Road. Hey, Mike, are you there? Welcome to the On Fire Show. Oh, that's Mark.
Yes. Kletzky, national political consultant. We help raise money and spend it in a way that dramatically improves their chance of victory. Nice to be here. Thank you, Daryl.
All right. Is Atlanta, is Mike there? Okay. Mark, we'll be right back.
I am,
Mark.
We've got several entering the show at the same time. Excellent.
Yes. So we're going to talk with Mike first. So Mike, oh, wow. We got a technical problem. That was AI. So Mike, tell us about the Trump Store in Ben Salem. How'd you get started with that?
It was kind of an accident, actually. I had a T-shirt store already. Actually, I sold T-shirts to small businesses and car shows in the area. And somebody had asked me for a Trump shirt. And I said, I don't have any. But there was a show next week. So I made 20 shirts for the show the following week. And I sold them in about a half an hour. So wow. That was pretty good. So the following week, I made about 30, 40 shirts. And after a couple of months, I had 6 or 7 different designs. I started selling them roadside, and I got a Trump tent to sell. I parked in gas stations and other spots around. And so when it started getting cold, this is 2018, I looked for an inside spot, so I found a kiosk up at the mall. I used that for 2018 Christmas season, and that was only temporary for Christmas. And then after that, I needed to find a permanent location, and that was a hard thing to do because once I said I was going to sell Trump items, most landlords hung up the phone. They didn't want no, they didn't want any trouble with anybody.
Oh wow!
So, but I did find a conservative landlord in Bensalem, and I've been there ever since.
Conservative landlords.
Exactly. So it's going on 4 years now, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Tell us about the event that you had where I spoke at. It was a Trump rally.
What's that?
Tell us about the rally that you had in front of the store. Where I spoke and some other people. Yeah.
Leading up to the 2020 election, we had a rally every month at the store, and the final one right before the election, we probably had 1,500 people there. The entire parking lot was full, and 300 people waving flags at the street. It was awesome. And at that same time, Biden was speaking about 10 minutes away, somewhere by the river.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. So a bunch of our guys drove over to Biden's rally, which was probably 20 people there, and they used their horns on their truck. They had train horns, and that's when Biden said, "Look at them chumps out there." So it was our guys that brought that saying there. But it's a lot of fun, the rallies at the store.
Yeah, it's definitely you have a nice crowd showing up, and you have people who are buying the T-shirts, all the you have the dolls. Tell us about some of the specialty items that you do have that people really like.
Well, we got all kinds of. When I first started the store, I look back at the pictures now. All we had was shirts, hats, and mugs. That was it. We probably have 100 different items now, and we have new items coming in all the time. The most popular items are the talking Trumps that we have. You push your button, you got 17 different sayings, and there he is standing right there.
Yeah,
and the bobbleheads, of course. But shirts are the most popular item. Any kind of shirts and flags. Everybody wants to wear shirts. I have a shirt on right now, Trump 2024. And the hats also. Everybody wants to show, their support for Trump.
Yeah. So listen, I just want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for sponsoring the show.
Right.
We really appreciated getting the word out. And guess what we got in common? The three guys we got in common.
Yeah. Who's that?
Other than we're men. You're in the same hotel I'm in Chantilly. But we're all three of us in Virginia. And I don't know, is Chantilly Fauquier County or that's Fairfax?
Fairfax County. That's
Fairfax County. So we're in Virginia in the nice weather. I'm so excited here in Virginia. I love coming here. I love the culture. You will be at the Chantilly gun show tomorrow. So, for the next 3 days, that was the commercial we played, the gun show. I'll be there selling Welcome to America and 37 days. It's I love the gun show culture. If I could do gun shows every week, it's financially it works, but the culture, the people who are supporting President Trump, who are conservative, Second Amendment, they get excited, they want to spend money, and they want to share it's about sharing the conservative values, and it's exciting.
Absolutely. It's a fun crowd. We come to this particular gun show for the last almost 2 years now, and it's one of the best ones. Great.
Oh yeah. And at the hotel we're at, and right across from the gun show, you get breakfast in the morning. Buffet.
That's right. That's right.
So I want to thank you for coming on.
Okay, you're welcome.
Be safe, and I'll be talking to you.
Okay.
All right. We're going to be sharing this all over.
Very good. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Take care. So we have Mark McCluskey on. He's a political consultant. It was funny. He came on and he started talking. Mark, are you there? Welcome to the On Fire show.
I am here.
We're going to be talking about Virginia. All right. Go ahead, Chris.
Mark, how you doing? I think we've crossed paths once or twice before. My wife Debbie is the brains of the operation. I'm out in Fauquier County in Marshall, and we're pretty active around Virginia. Post-mortem, what do you think? What's your take on the most recent election?
Well, I'm devastated. And first of all, Daryl, thank you for having me on the show. My name is Mark McCleskey. I'm a national political consultant. We help our candidates raise money and spend it in a way that dramatically improves their chance of victory. And Chris, I last saw you on your motorcycle rolling up your driveway. And we've never really been personally introduced, but it's nice to meet you. I spent some time talking with Debbie. I've been to your bonfires a couple of times.
Right on.
And I live in Annapolis, Maryland, and I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. And when I'm at your bonfire and in any of the events that I go to in Virginia, I never feel like I'm more at home. It's you guys are my clan. You're my tribe. So thank you. Thank you for your bonfires. Thank you for allowing me to be there. We got beat on the abortion issue. That's pretty much it. If you listen to mainstream media, they'll all say the Democrats won on abortion issues. And unfortunately, that's a very minor issue for what they are doing to our country.
I think it's a gateway issue in as much as it's a very easy, how best to put it, explosive topic that they can capitalize on. And I think that we conservatives, the conservative ideology, we're going to continue to be taught a lesson until we learn it. And in my estimation, the lesson we're being taught is abortion's is a very volatile, difficult issue for us to win on. I would like to see the conservative party writ large, all conservatives, take a different approach to this, because they're able to take abortion and make it an invasion of privacy and the end of their republic and all these horrible, the end of their democracy and all these things. I propose that the Conservative Party steps back from abortion and adopts the mindset that go ahead, have as many abortions as you want. Our objective, our focus is going to be twofold. First off, making abortions obsolete. Make it so that you're not going to need one. And we can do that through flooding the market with contraception so conception isn't an issue to contend with. And we're going to raise daughters that don't need them. We're going to raise daughters that have self-esteem, self-respect, standards, and morality. Somebody asked me one time, why are conservative women so much prettier than liberal women? And I thought about this for a minute. Hey, what do you got, Daryl?
I'll say, wow, look at Rebecca. She's
well,
pretty conservative woman.
Let me here's the thing. My response to that, Mark, and everybody else was, it's not so much that conservative women are more attractive. It's that people that have nothing to bring to the table resort to liberalism because that's the only tribe that will take them in. Conservative women tend to be, and I'm being very generalizing here, and I'm being chauvinistic, and I'm being all those things I'm allowed to be in my own house. And that is, attractive women don't need to be liberal. they bring more to the table than promiscuity. And if somebody is unattractive in all ways, physically, emotionally, developmentally, mentally, they see promiscuity as their membership into a tribe. And us, the conservatives, threatening their ability to be promiscuous with no consequences is an existential threat to them. Because if they can't do what they need to do to be accepted in their tribe, they get exiled, they get excommunicated, they get banished. And so it is existential to them in many ways. So we need to step back and think from 30,000 feet about not only why are we getting beaten badly on the abortion topic, but why is it so crucially important to them? And I maintain it's important to them. It's life or death to them, because without the ability to be promiscuous without consequences, they get excommunicated and exiled from their tribe.
Mark?
So we need to make the consequences of their behavior less, we need to make those consequences not result in the necessity of abortion in their mind. And we need to get the idea across that you don't need to do that to fit in or to be accepted or to be welcomed or to be loved or to be valued.
Mark?
I think that we need to figure out a way to explain to all the Democrats that what they're getting from their party, they like, most of them like to attach their checking account to the federal checkbook. And the ones that get the most, it's such a small amount. And what the Democrats are doing is, there's this virus that's come in and somehow attached itself to the Democratic Party and brought it to the far, far left. And has really hijacked the Democratic Party. And they've even gotten into the Republican Party as well. And that is communism. And we need a way to get off of the abortion talk and talk about the communist talk. And how do we keep our country? How do we stand up for our country and get these communists out? And those are where that's where I think we need to focus. If somehow 99% of what they vote, when they vote, they don't get, they take their 1% and the 99% of all the evil that comes with the Democratic Party, what they're doing. For example, in the school systems, with the queer theory and all that, and the poor girl that had some guy in a dress walk in and rape her, and then the father got dragged through all kinds of problems, and they weren't even.
I spoke with him this morning. That was Scott Smith. I spoke with him on the phone this morning because he was able to celebrate Buddha Bibarai's demise in the polls. She actually conceded her defeat as the prosecuting attorney in Loudoun County. And he was there to celebrate that. And I spoke with him this morning.
Oh, good. So, at any rate, I think we got to start using the communist word. Forget the abortion talk. You want communism in your country? Is that what you want? Do you know what communism is? And explain communism, because that's really what that's where they're bringing. That's where they're taking us.
I hope to see you on the 25th, because we have at the next bonfire, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, we have our guest speaker is G. Van Fleet from Loudoun County, who's an immigrant from China. And she just wrote a very good book. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it right now. And she's going to bring the book, talk about the book, and address exactly that there aren't any other countries left for us to swim to.
No, we're it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We're it.
Yeah, we're definitely it. I mean, she was on the Glenn Beck show yesterday or day before yesterday. We got to have her on the On Fire show, And so, it's terrible what's happened in this country, and people are seeing it. Conservatives are seeing it, all over the country. And we definitely have to take a stand and not be afraid to speak out. And I think that's one of the biggest things, that people are afraid to speak the truth. Rebecca, I'm sure you want to comment on some of these things that we're talking about.
Happy to, yes. So on the abortion topic, I think largely it's a cultural problem. I didn't disagree with a lot of the things that Chris was saying, like get off the topic. There's more important things to talk about and warn people about. Make birth control more accessible. As a culture, we need to be more proactive in letting women know that you have other options. So many young girls are so scared. They feel that abortion is their best option. They don't have necessarily a lot of resources about adoption. That's not what's really pushed culturally if someone doesn't want to keep the baby. When it comes to a lot of people not understanding the threat right now of communism, a lot of people really don't know how big of a threat that is to America right now. And I feel like the percentage of young college age kids who actually favor communism over capitalism and a free constitutional republic is alarming. So I think we have a major issue of society that's just not educated in what communism really is. So I think that people really do need to start speaking out about it and telling others about it who don't necessarily follow what's happening or understand the consequence of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why me and my co-writer Steve Martino wrote the book Welcome to America, talk about cultural Marxism, how to fight against cultural Marxism, how to wake up. We wrote it so that if you got a high school education, you can understand it. And most people, when they read the book Welcome to America, they really understand what's happening with the school system, the educational system, what's happening on television, video games, movies. And they're pushing that agenda. And people, parents should be worried. What are your kids watching on television? What types of video games? And why are kids committing suicide more than ever before? You can't blame videos and video games and social media for all on suicide. The parents have to really focus on their children again. Why are your kids committing suicide more than ever? Why are these kids committing suicide more than ever before? It's time to pay attention to young people and the suffering, what young people are suffering from.
Right. I feel like it starts at home. We have a breakdown of the family. And then when it comes to local school boards, if parents aren't active and they don't know the curriculum and what their children are learning, I mean, as parents, you got to stay on top of it. And, that you should know who's allowed into your child's bathroom at school. You should know what they're being taught. And I feel like a lot of people just kind of lay back and leave it in the school's power.
So Mark,
I think that's brilliant. I think that's a very that's an unsung facet that needs to be focused on a lot more than it is, and that is parental involvement and the honoring and recognition of the importance of a nuclear family. And the sanctity of that. We need to return to ideals of morality and merit and the sanctity of that nuclear family. I think it's crucial. Not everybody from a broken family ends up in, the legal system.
Right.
Damn near everybody in the legal system comes from a broken family.
You're right about that. So Mark, what is the future? What do you think is going to happen in 2024? You're a national consultant. Tell us. What do you think? The possibilities. With the Republican Party, and especially when it comes to dealing with President Trump.
Well, President Trump, I think, if allowed a fair race will win by landslide,
Mm-hmm.
without question. And the Democrats are afraid of that. And that's why they're fighting so hard to keep him out. And then the left has not wanted him around ever since he decided to run back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have seen the hell that they put him through, starting from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And from a lot of my studies, I've found that his uncle John Trump, who was a protege of Vannevar Bush, who was in charge of the UFO file back in the 30s and the early 40s, knows, they know that Donald Trump knows all that's in that file, and that's where they get their power, is the military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump, from my studies, he created the Space Force, trying to get the UFO file back over to his side.
Yeah.
And so whether you believe that story or not, there's a reason that they are so viciously after him. You've never seen anything like it.
Never.
And
never.
So you have to ask yourself the question, why are they doing that? What are they so afraid of? They have gone to some crazy.
Well, he's
things.
a criminal. That's what they say. He's a criminal. That's why they come going after him.
Well, he's a threat to both sides, though. I think he has as many existential enemies on the right as he does on the left.
Yeah, he told people to go to Washington and go to the Capitol building. He's the worst president in the history of America.
And I hope everybody sees that.
He's a threat to our democracy.
Yes.
Chris, I know you're a real estate agent. I'm a real estate agent. I own 14 properties that I own and manage. And I know the difference between what my tax said, like when you look at what their property tax that you're paying, they come up with a low number. And that is not the true value of the property.
The assessment.
And that's what they're going after him on that. He put down the market value of it. And you and I both know that if you go to the bank and say you want to borrow money on your house, they don't sit there and go, well, tell me what it's worth. I said, well, I think it's worth $500,000. Well, here you go. They come in and they do all their studies. It's ridiculous.
There's always a neutral third party assessor, a real estate evaluator that comes in and gives a verdict on that. I think it's just delicious that it's coming out, or they're trying to keep it from coming out, that Letitia James did the exact same thing on 3 vacation properties she owns, I believe, in Florida.
Oh, of course.
Welcome to America.
And she ran for office on how she was going to kick Trump's butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the judges, they just doing what they're told to do.
Yeah.
They're not doing that on their own. They're doing what they're told to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely a shame. And, I think that people need to rise up and protest, organize, and come to the polls in 2024, but also in their state and the congressional elections that are going to take place the next year. And it's important that people wake up. There's parents and African-American parents I've talked to, and they're now wishing that Donald Trump was in office. They realized they made a mistake with Biden. A lot of people didn't really know Joe Biden at all. They knew nothing about.
They had 50 years to learn about him.
No, they knew nothing about his plagiarism. Twice he ran for plagiarized speeches.
I was just going to say the final comment on Donald Trump and the Democratic Party is they're so afraid that if he's allowed to run, that it's going to be such a landslide that they're not going to be able to cheat enough. They're not going to be able to cheat enough to really make their side win.
Mark, is his life at risk?
I think his life has always been at risk.
Breaking news, breaking news.
If these lawsuits don't work, I don't think they'll hesitate a minute, because he's such an existential threat to both parties, unfortunately.
Now, the good news is that back when JFK was assassinated, nobody had iPhones. So it's going to be more difficult today to really, you can't really just go push somebody out the window anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sad, but I believe the Democratic Party, they will do all they can, and you have some Republicans will go along and get along with the Democratic Party to do everything they can to take out President Trump in more ways than one. And so it's a sad state of America, what's happening. And, I was on the HBO documentary about the 2020 election. They asked me about President Trump in the future. I said they would probably try to kill him, the Democratic Party. Or you may have some Republicans. You just don't know, what's on evil's mind. I mean, you look what John F.
Mark, who's going to be his running mate?
Yeah.
Who's going to be his running mate? Let's have a fire round. Let's have a
we got a couple minutes. We got to get
lightning round. Who's going to be his running mate? Daryl, who's going to be his running mate?
Who's going to be his running mate? What's my man name? Tucker Carlson.
Right. Okay, Rebecca, who's going to be his running mate?
I would be happy.
Tucker Carlson. Tucker.
Okay, Mark.
Tucker
I don't think so. I think that would be a step down for Tucker, just like it would be a step down for either Oprah or Mike Obama to run for the Oval. I think Vivek really is showing a lot of promise as VP, and I think that Tim Scott's going to be a really good cabinet member.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we flush the toilet on Nikki Haley,
mm-hmm.
And I ain't going to bother about Christie, and my jury's still out about DeSantis, but he's just not. He doesn't have the youth and the fire to excite people like somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy. I think that the next generation sees an awful lot of Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen.
Enough to get over the fact that his name is Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another show, because things people need to know about the presidency, people running for president, the historical, can any other person from culture and religion become president of the United States? So that's another show.
Well, Kennedy was the first Catholic.
Mm-hmm. Kennedy, that was still a Christian. He was still a Christian. They considered a Christian. So. Listen, I'd like to thank you all for coming on, Rebecca, Chris, and Mark. Listen, Mark, I just want to thank you. God bless you. You'll be on the show again, definitely talking about certain issues, and hopefully you have your own show that we can all come on again and have a great talk. Thank you for coming on, Mark.
Thank you so much, Daryl.
Mark McCluskey.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Next Saturday.
All right. Hold on. Stay on, guys. Stay on. All right,
Right.
Mark. Take care. All right, guys, that was a great show. That was a great show. I really enjoyed the show. I enjoyed Mike from the Trump store. We're going to show Mike again. His store, going to pop it up one more time. Go ahead, Lana. That store, 2060 Street Road, Pennsylvania, in Bensalem. Go by there. Mike will be, and so will I, be at Chantilly tomorrow. And at the Chantilly at the gun show, the Dulles Gun Show, it's tomorrow. The Nation's Gun Show is called the Nation's Gun Show at the Dallas Expo. Is from 1 to 7 on Friday and Saturday 9 to 5 and Sunday 10 to 5. It's going to be a great show. Come on and get some books, get some Trump T-shirts, Trump hats. Come out and get a gun and protect yourself. We had a great show, guys.
Get lots of ammo.
Get lots of ammo.
I'm jealous I'm not there. I love gun shows. Maybe next year.
Yeah, they do the gun shows here in Chantilly at least 6 or 7 times in a year. And I know what's coming up. The Oaks Gun Show is coming up in Trevost in December. and they're doing another gun show here in Chantilly in December. So there'll be 3 shows I'll be at promoting the book, Welcome to America in 37 Days. Well, listen, guys, I just want to say thank you all for participating in the show and hosting it. It's fun and it's going to be more exciting. Coming up, it's going to be exciting, and people are going to have some great guests. We're going to get definitely a lot better with this, and hopefully we'll take things to the next level.
Keep polishing that stone, man.
Oh yeah.
Yep, it's a pleasure. It's been fun.
All right,
Right
thank
on.
you all.
Great to see
And Rebecca, I'm gonna tell all the haters leave you alone. We're on Facebook.
Thank you.
Chris, she's too pretty to be on. You can't, yeah. The stuff I've told.
You should see me before I'm on the show. I'm coming in from the bar.
Yeah. So Chris. The comments somebody said to me, and it's other females, women. What are you gonna do? Yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Rebecca's a beautiful woman.
Gonna hate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They say nothing about what's happening on Fox News. So,
Right.
Fox News has their supermodels on talk shows.
Yes.
Miss Oklahoma, Miss Tennessee, Miss Arkansas.
Like they just came off the runway.
Yeah, and Rebecca is a Second Amendment supporter, and she got her own guns, and she knows how to shoot. And she rides horses and loves dogs.
Yep.
A great American.
Thank
you. Like
apple pie. Well, good. Look forward to making your acquaintance in person.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. All right, guys.
All right, Daryl.
All right, y'all. Thank you all for coming on the show, and we'll see you next week. This is the On Fire Show with Daryl Brooks, Rebecca Boyd, and Chris Cloud. We had a great show. Thank you all for watching and support the show. Take care.
Thank you.
We're out.